Supreme Court so that they can make a determination on a gubernatorial issue. And in the process of going through this election dispute that I handled, I was able to find gaps in the IEBC processes. For example, it was evident to me that those people who were charged before me, some of whom were IEBC officials, had one or two of them had been charged because they had forgotten and put every document inside the ballot box, so the ballot box could not be opened. There are documents that they are not supposed to put in the ballot box. So some had placed everything in the ballot box, and that raised suspicion that this ballot box is needed now to be reopened so that those things could be removed. And the suspicion on the candidate that lost was that this was intentional, and that there was stuffing of ballots, so that there was no scrutiny of the unused ballot papers. I think from here, I was able to find out that fatigue is a critical issue that affects election processes, and somehow IEBC as an institution has to create a policy on how they relate to this issue of fatigue during the electioneering process. Secondly, like I said, I was selected as one of the trainers by the Judiciary Committee on Elections to train my colleagues, and through a team we were able to train our colleagues in the preparedness for election. When I was Secretary General of the Kenya Magistrate and Judges Association, this was between the year 2009 and 2013. And in the year 2009, there was a petition. There were petitions that were ongoing from the 2007 election cycle. And from this cycle, we were able to note that one of our judges, Justice now President of the Court of Appeal, Justice Musinga, was able to handle a petition in Kisii within 6 months. And then we said, if it can be done, then it's something that we are able now to create the timelines for it and then make proposals for it. So this is how, as a Kenya Magistrate and Judges Association, we are now able to now drive the effort that our colleagues and every one of us is able to conclude election petitions within 6 months. Secondly, I forgot to mention that I was representing the judiciary during the writing of the Constitution. The Committee of Experts needed to consult with a group called the Reference Group, which incorporated professional bodies and other bodies of interest to the country, like TSC and others. So, Kenya National Union of Teachers and others. And in this process, when writing this constitution and those aspects on the election, I was able to make the contribution, having gone back to my electorate, which is the Kenya Magistrate and Judges Association, and finding out their views on how the election process should be and whether processes can be concluded within certain timelines. And I think that is the contribution I have made, and possibly now it's my opportunity to make even bigger contribution. Thank you, Madam Chair.
What is that you call bigger contribution?
There are bigger contributions to be made in this institution, in the sense that there are recommendations that were made by the Supreme Court in the last election cycle, and part of that is concerning timelines, how we are able now to negotiate these timelines and create greater period. Because when we were writing the first Supreme Court rules, election rules, to try and balance these timelines of 14 days was very difficult. How then are we going to give parties time to file their documents, within which the time frame for filing documents, and ensuring that by the time the petition is ripe for hearing, there is sufficient time. And you would see that the Supreme Court is always caught up by a time. That's why they have to hear cases late into the night. And we are all glued, and I think the tension in the country is even much there is gripping and much more difficult. Of course, there are those who enjoy the sessions, but I think it's important that the Supreme Court is given sufficient time. So one of those would be that timeline. The second one would be the corporate governance of the IEBC, how we are able now to ensure that it has a face for itself, that it's able to have internal processes that are able to deal with internal issues, and also to create better ways of doing business as IEBC in internal. Commissioners relate with each other, how the commission relates with staff, how the players within the sector, that, and then how does the commission then relate with major stakeholders and the.
Thank you, Madam Koki. Your questions.
Thank you, Chair. Lorot.
Good morning, Madam Koki.
And welcome.
Thank you.
Today. The Kriegler report made some recommendations to the IEBC in Kenya. I would like a question related. First, were the just that are strength if you believe that IEBC requires
the report also, one of the was on the IEBC captured it on its own before the constitution. It must have a separate electoral laws into one, and then also it IEBC and whether it will their business through committee, that type of business, so that now you have how you approach elections about reduction of stricter timelines. They talked about having a media strategy. It's not just because the election, so that Kriegler's committee were to review, and then there was a shut on other media houses, and I contribute us to what we saw as the 2007 election.
Thank you very much, Chair. Thank you.
I'd like to ask to kindly ask his questions.
Thank you. And again, good morning, Honorable. Now, in the National Assembly's Public Accounts Committee, reviewing the Auditor General's report, observed that there were instances of in the functions of the CEO, chairman of IEBC. And it went on to say that mainly on procurement matters, and especially procurement of KIMS kits and other election materials. You are aware that just, I think, a few weeks or last month, IEBC requested for a budget of 62 billion to procure and conduct elections for 2027. As the chair of IEBC, this position,